The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive with a burst of light. A small fleet of ships, no more than a dozen, appeared out of nowhere. They were sleek and compact, unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the distant starlight. This was the contested sector, a region of space where different alien races fought for control. It was a place of constant battles and uneasy truces. The arrival of a new fleet should have caused alarm, but instead, it brought only amusement to the watching eyes. On the nearest space station, a group of alien diplomats gathered around a large view screen. They represented the major powers in this part of the galaxy: the lizard-like Zarthans, the crystalline Orcs, and the gaseous Nebulons. "What's this?" growled Zix, the Zarthan ambassador. His scales rippled with curiosity. Another group thinking, they can claim a piece of our sector. The Cuck's representative, a being made of shimmering crystals named Sparkle, chimed in. "They're so small. I've seen pleasure yachts bigger than those ships." A cloud of purple gas shifted next to them. It was Misty, the Nebulon diplomat. "Size isn't everything," Misty puffed. "But I agree, they don't look like much." As the diplomats watched, the fleet moved deeper into the sector. They expected to hear the usual demands or threats that came with new arrivals, but the small ships remained silent. "How strange," Zix muttered. "Why aren't they saying anything?" Sparkle's crystals flashed with amusement. "Maybe they're lost. Shall we send them directions to the nearest exit?" The joke made Zix and Misty laugh, but their laughter died when they noticed something odd. The ships were moving with incredible precision, adjusting their course in ways that seemed impossible for vessels that size. On the other side of the sector, a Zarthan battle cruiser picked up the new arrivals on its sensors. Captain Zorg, a battle-hardened veteran, squinted at the readout. "What are those?" "Scouts," he asked his second-in-command. "Unknown, sir," the officer replied. "They're not matching any known designs in our database." Zorg frowned. In his long career, he had seen all kinds of ships from all corners of the galaxy. But these were different. They moved like they were one unit, not separate ships, and despite their small size, they were covering distance faster than should be possible. "Hail them," Zorg ordered. "Let's see who we're dealing with." The communications officer sent out the standard greeting in all known languages. They waited for a response, but only silence came back. "No answer, sir," the officer reported after several attempts. Zorg's frown deepened. The silence was unsettling. In his experience, silence often preceded trouble. As the hours passed, news of the mysterious fleet spread across the sector. Some dismissed them as unimportant. Others saw them as a potential threat. But all were curious about their origin and purpose. In a hidden base on a nearby asteroid, a group of information brokers huddled around their equipment. They specialized in uncovering secrets, and this fleet was the biggest mystery they'd seen in years. "Anything?" asked the lead broker, a multi-eyed creature named Vex. One of his assistants shook her head. "Nothing, boss. It's like they don't exist. No transponder signals, no energy signatures we recognize. They're ghosts." Vex's eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought. "No one just appears out of nowhere. Dig deeper. I want to know who they are and where they came from." As the brokers worked, the fleet continued its silent journey through the sector. They passed by space stations, outposts, and patrolling ships. Many tried to communicate with them, but the fleet remained silent. The lack of response began to create tension. Some started to see the small ships as a threat. Others became frustrated with the mystery. Little did they know, the crews of those small ships were watching everything. They saw the confusion, the amusement, and the growing concern. And they waited for the right moment to reveal themselves. For these weren't just any ships. They were human warships, the first to venture this far into the galaxy. And they were about to change everything. As the mysterious fleet continued its silent journey through the contested sector, tension among the alien races reached a breaking point. The Zarthan High Command, known for their aggressive tactics, decided it was time to act. Admiral Zex, a decorated war hero with scars crisscrossing his scaly face, stood on the bridge of the flagship Claw of Destiny. His yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the small fleet on the view screen. "Enough of this silence," Zex growled. "Prepare the boarding parties. We'll find out who they are the old-fashioned way." As Zarthan ships moved to surround the fleet, something unexpected happened. The small ships suddenly came to a complete stop. Then, a message crackled across all communication channels. "Greetings, citizens of the galaxy. We come in peace." The voice was calm and clear, speaking in perfect galactic standard. Zex's jaw dropped. After days of silence, why speak now? On the nearby diplomatic station, ambassadors scrambled to respond. Zix, the Zarthan representative, was the first to compose himself. "Unknown fleet, identify yourselves immediately," he demanded. There was a pause, then the voice returned. "We are representatives of Earth, a planet in a system you call the Void. We are humans." A collective gasp echoed across the sector. The Void was a nickname for a distant, unexplored region of space. No one believed intelligent life existed there. Sparkle, the Kux ambassador, chimed in. "Impossible. No civilization could develop in that empty region without us noticing." The human voice replied with a hint of amusement. "And yet here we are." As the diplomats argued among themselves, a new holographic image appeared in front of them. It showed a bipedal creature with no scales, feathers, or exoskeleton. Its skin was soft-looking, and it had hair on top of its head. This was a human. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Exploratory Force," the human said. "We've been observing your sector for some time. We believe it's time for formal introductions." The alien representatives were stunned into silence. Misty, the Nebulon, was the first to recover. How did you hide from our sensors for so long?" Captain Chen smiled. "That's a long story. Perhaps we could discuss it in a more formal setting." As the diplomats scrambled to arrange a meeting, news of the humans spread like wildfire across the sector. On planets, space stations, and ships, beings of all species huddled around communication devices, hungry for information. In a dingy bar on a remote mining colony, a group of veteran spacers watched the events unfold on a fuzzy view screen. One of them, an old Zarthan named Grex, chuckled to himself. "I told you lot," he said, taking a swig of his drink. "I've been saying for years there was something out in the void. But did anyone listen?" "No." His drinking buddies grumbled, tossing him a few credit chips to settle old bets. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a hidden underground facility, a team of scientists and military personnel watched the first contact unfold. General Maria Rodriguez, the mastermind behind the mission, allowed herself a small smile. "Phase 1 complete," she said to her team. "They've taken the bait. Now, let's see how they react to our surprises." Back in the contested sector, preparations were underway for the first official meeting with the humans. The largest neutral space station, Harmony Point, was chosen as the venue. Security was tight, with ships from all major powers standing guard. As Captain Chen's shuttle approached the station, she reflected on the long journey that had brought humanity to this point. She remembered the day, years ago, when Earth's deep space telescopes first detected signs of alien civilizations. The fear, the excitement, the careful planning that followed. Humanity had decided to approach the galactic community cautiously. They developed technologies in secret, built their fleet, and studied the aliens from afar. Now it was time to step onto the galactic stage. As the shuttle docked, Chen took a deep breath. She knew that the fate of humanity rested on what happened next. The aliens had laughed at their small fleet, underestimating them. But soon, they would understand just what humanity was capable of. The doors of the shuttle opened, and Captain Chen stepped out, ready to make history. The first official meeting between humans and aliens was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The grand meeting hall of Harmony Point buzzed with tension and excitement. Representatives from every major galactic power sat around a massive circular table. At its center stood Captain Sarah Chen, the first human many of these aliens had ever seen. Chen's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the nervous energy filling the room. She began her presentation, her voice clear and confident. "People of the galaxy, we come with an offer of peace and cooperation," Chen said. "Earth wishes to join the galactic community as equals." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Zix, the Zarthan ambassador, leaned forward, his scales shimmering with skepticism. "Equal," he scoffed. "Your fleet is tiny. Your technology, while intriguing, is clearly inferior. What could you possibly offer us?" Chen smiled, unfazed by the challenge. "Sometimes, Ambassador, the greatest strength lies not in size, but in innovation and adaptability." She pressed a button on her wrist device. A hologram appeared, showing Earth's solar system and its defenses. The aliens gasped at the complexity and ingenuity of the human designs. "We may be new to your galaxy," Chen continued, "but we've been preparing for this moment for generations." As Chen spoke, military leaders from various species gathered in a separate chamber to discuss the potential threat of these newcomers. Admiral Kraz of the Kux Empire paced the room, his crystalline body glinting under the harsh lights. "They're bluffing," Kraz declared. "No species from such a resource-poor region could pose a real threat." General Mist of the Nebulon Collective swirled thoughtfully. "But their stealth technology, it's like nothing we've seen before." Kraz waved a dismissive crystal appendage. "Parlor tricks. Nothing more." Meanwhile, in a shadowy corner of the station, information broker Vex huddled with his team. Their many eyes darted back and forth as they pieced together scraps of data about the humans. "Boss," one of Vex's assistants whispered, "you won't believe this. We've intercepted some human communications. They're laughing at us." Vex blinked in surprise. "Laughing? Why?" The assistant played a recording. Human voices chuckled, saying things like, "Can you believe they fell for the small fleet trick? And wait till they see what our ships can really do." Back in the meeting hall, the debate raged on. Some species, intrigued by human innovations, advocated for cooperation. Others, like the Zarthans, saw the humans as upstarts who needed to be put in their place. Ambassador Sparkle of the Cooks posed a pointed question. "Captain Chen, how do you propose to enforce peace with such a small fleet?" Chen's reply was diplomatic but firm. "We believe in resolving conflicts through dialogue and mutual understanding. However, we are also prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." As the meeting progressed, news of the humans spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all kinds debated the potential impact of this new species. On a bustling trading post, a grizzled Zarthan merchant named Zork shared drinks with his Nebulon friend, Whist. "Mark my words," Zork growled, "these humans will be trouble. We should crush them now while we have the chance." Whist pulsed thoughtfully. "I don't know, Zork. There's something about them. Something we're missing." In the depths of space, aboard the flagship of the Zarthan fleet, Admiral Zex made a fateful decision. He turned to his second-in-command, eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Prepare the fleet," Zex ordered. "It's time we taught these humans their place in the galaxy." As Zarthan warships began to mobilize, alarms blared on Harmony Point. Captain Chen received an urgent message from Earth. Her eyes widened as she read it. "It seems," Chen announced to the startled assembly, "that some of you are planning a demonstration of force. I strongly advise against this course of action." Zix, the Zarthan ambassador, stood up, his scales flushed with anger. "Are you threatening us, human?" Chen's voice remained calm, but there was steel in her words. "Not a threat, Ambassador. A warning. You've seen only what we wanted you to see. You laugh at our small fleet, but you have no idea of what we're truly capable." As tension in the room reached a boiling point, the first reports of Zarthan ships entering attack formation came in. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see how the humans would respond to this challenge. Little did they know, Earth had anticipated this reaction. Hidden protocols activated across the human fleet. As the Zarthans approached, confident in their superior numbers, the true nature of the human warships was about to be revealed. The laughter was about to stop, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The vastness of space erupted into chaos as the Zarthan fleet bore down on the small group of human ships. Admiral Zex stood on the bridge of his flagship, a cruel smile playing across his scaly features. "Fire the warning shots," Zex commanded. "Let's see how brave these humans are when faced with real power." Brilliant beams of energy lanced out from the Zarthan ships, purposely missing the human fleet but coming close enough to demonstrate their superior firepower. On Harmony Point, the assembled diplomats watched the unfolding scene with a mixture of horror and fascination. Captain Sarah Chen stood calmly in the center, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Captain," Sparkle, the Kux ambassador, chimed nervously, "shouldn't your ships be retreating?" Chen's lips curled into a small smile. "That won't be necessary, Ambassador." Suddenly, alarms blared across the Zarthan fleet. Admiral Zex's eyes widened in shock as his tactical officer reported the impossible. "Sir, the human ships, they're changing." Before the stunned eyes of the galaxy, the small human fleet began to transform. Sleek panels slid away, revealing hidden weapon ports. Compact hulls expanded, doubling the size of each vessel. What once looked like a modest group of explorer ships now bristled with advanced weaponry. On Harmony Point, gasps of astonishment filled the air. Zix, the Zarthan ambassador, stumbled back in his seat. "Impossible," he croaked. Captain Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "This is Captain Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Zarthan fleet, power down your weapons and withdraw. This is your only warning." Admiral Zex, however, was not one to back down. "It's a trick," he snarled. "All ships, open fire. Destroy these human upstarts." The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and missile trails as the Zarthans launched a full assault. Everyone expected to see the human ships quickly overwhelmed. But then, something extraordinary happened. The human ships didn't just survive the barrage. They emerged completely unscathed. A shimmer of energy surrounded each vessel, absorbing or deflecting every Zarthan attack. "Impossible!" Admiral Zex roared. "What kind of shields are those?" On Earth, in the hidden command center, General Maria Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. She turned to her chief scientist, Dr. Akira Tanaka. "It seems our phase-shift shield technology works even better than we hoped, Doctor," Rodriguez said. Tanaka nodded, his eyes glued to the screens. "Indeed, General. The Zarthan's energy weapons are completely ineffective against our quantum field manipulation." Back in space, the human fleet began its counterattack. But instead of returning fire, the ships executed a series of impossible maneuvers. They blinked in and out of existence, reappearing inside the Zarthan formation. Panic spread through the Zarthan fleet as human ships materialized right next to their vessels, then vanished again before they could be targeted. "What's happening?" A Zarthan gunner cried out. "How can they move like that?" Admiral Zex's flagship rocked as a human vessel appeared off its port side, so close he could see the determined faces of the human crew through the viewports. Then, in a flash, it was gone. On Harmony Point, the assembled diplomats watched in awe as the mighty Zarthan fleet was reduced to chaos by a handful of human ships. By the cosmic winds, Misty, the Nebulon diplomat, puffed in amazement. "Their technology, it's beyond anything we've ever seen." Captain Chen's voice rang out again, addressing the Zarthan fleet. "This demonstration is over. Power down your weapons, or we will be forced to respond with lethal force." For a moment, the battle hung in balance. Admiral Zex, his pride wounded but his tactical sense finally kicking in, realized the futility of their attack. "All ships," he growled reluctantly, "stand down. Cease fire and withdraw." As the Zarthan fleet retreated, a stunned silence fell over the observing galaxy. The human ships, their true nature now revealed, resumed their original compact form and moved back into formation. Captain Chen turned to face the shocked diplomats on Harmony Point. Her expression was firm but not unkind. "Now then," she said calmly, "shall we continue our discussion about Earth joining the galactic community? I believe we have much to offer each other." As the implications of what they had just witnessed sank in, the gathered representatives of the galaxy realized that everything had changed. The era of underestimating humanity was over. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a new emotion: respect tinged with fear. The galaxy would never be the same again. The grand meeting hall on Harmony Point was eerily quiet. The alien diplomats sat in stunned silence, their eyes fixed on Captain Sarah Chen. The demonstration of human technology had shattered their preconceptions and left them reeling. Chen cleared her throat, breaking the silence. "I believe we were discussing Earth's place in the galactic community." Zix, the Zarthan ambassador, was the first to find his voice. How is this possible? Your ships, your weapons." Chen's expression softened slightly. "As I said before, Ambassador, sometimes the greatest strength lies in innovation. Earth may be young in galactic terms, but we've learned to make the most of our resources." Meanwhile, in deep space, the remnants of the Zarthan fleet limped away from the battlefield. Admiral Zex stared out at the stars, his pride in tatters. His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Sir," the officer said, "we're receiving transmissions from other sectors. Word of our encounter with the humans is spreading fast." Zex growled low in his throat. "And no doubt, our enemies are already plotting to take advantage of our weakness." As if on cue, alarms blared across the ship. The tactical officer's voice rang out, panic evident in his tone. "Multiple warp signatures detected. It's the Krex horde." The Krex, longtime rivals of the Zarthans, had been waiting for an opportunity like this. Their massive battle cruisers emerged from warp space, weapons charged and ready to strike. But before the Krex could fire a single shot, a bright flash of light announced the arrival of new ships on the battlefield. The human fleet had returned. Captain Chen's voice crackled over the communication channels. "This is Captain Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Krex fleet, power down your weapons and withdraw. This sector is under our protection." On the bridge of the lead Krex ship, War Chief Groknak laughed. "Protection? You and what army, little human?" Chen's reply was calm. "The same one that just defeated the Zarthan fleet. This is your only warning." Groknak hesitated for a moment, then made his decision. "All ships, open fire. Let's show these humans what real warfare looks like." The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and missile trails as the Krex launched their assault. But just like before, the human ships remained untouched, their phase-shift shields absorbing every attack. This time, however, the humans didn't just defend. They attacked. From hidden ports on the human ships, swarms of small, drone-like objects erupted. They moved with impossible speed, weaving between Krex energy beams and missiles. "Quantum entanglement drones," Dr. Tanaka explained to General Rodriguez back on Earth, capable of instant communication and coordination across vast distances. The drones swarmed around the Krex ships, their tiny but powerful energy beams slicing through the alien vessel's shields like they weren't even there. War Chief Groknak watched in horror as his mighty fleet was reduced to floating scrap in a matter of minutes. "Impossible," he muttered. "We never even touched them." Back on Harmony Point, the alien diplomats watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and fear. Sparkle, the Kux ambassador, turned to Chen. "Your weapons, they ignore our strongest shields as if they don't exist." Chen nodded. "Quantum tunneling technology. It allows our weapons to bypass traditional energy barriers. As the last Krex ship fell silent, Captain Chen addressed both fleets. This conflict is over. Zarthan and Krex ships, power down your remaining weapons and prepare to be boarded. We will provide medical assistance to your wounded and escort you back to your territories. The defeated aliens had no choice but to comply. As human ships moved to assist the damaged vessels, the true scale of Earth's technological advantage became clear to all. Misty, the Nebulon diplomat, puffed thoughtfully. You could have destroyed them all. Why didn't you? Chen's answer was simple, because that's not who we are. Earth doesn't seek domination, only peace and mutual understanding. As news of the battle spread across the galaxy, the perception of humanity underwent a dramatic shift. The laughter and dismissal of days past were replaced by respect, curiosity, and more than a little fear. In the following hours, transmission after transmission arrived at Harmony Point. Species that had previously ignored the diplomatic meeting now clamored to speak with the human representatives. Captain Chen turned to the assembled diplomats, a serious expression on her face. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's time we had a frank discussion about the future of galactic politics. Earth is here to stay, and we have much to offer. Shall we begin? As the diplomats nodded in agreement, it was clear that a new era in galactic history had begun. The humans, once laughed at and dismissed, had turned the tide. Now, they stood poised to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The days following the dramatic space battles were a whirlwind of activity across the galaxy. On Harmony Point, the diplomatic summit had transformed into a non-stop series of meetings, as species after species sought audience with the human delegation. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the center of it all, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the excited buzz around her. As she prepared for another round of talks, she received an urgent message from Earth. Captain, General Rodriguez's hologram flickered to life. Given recent events, the Council has decided it's time to reveal more about our true capabilities. You have permission to proceed with Operation Full Disclosure. Chen nodded solemnly. Understood, General. I hope the galaxy is ready for this. In the Grand Meeting Hall, representatives from dozens of species waited anxiously. The room fell silent as Chen took her place at the podium. Esteemed delegates, she began, recent events have raised many questions about Earth and humanity. Today, we aim to answer those questions and share the full truth of who we are. A murmur rippled through the audience. Zix, the Zarthan ambassador, leaned forward, his scales shimmering with anticipation. Chen activated a holographic display, showing a detailed image of Earth's solar system. What you've seen so far is only a fraction of our capabilities. Our small fleet was just the tip of the iceberg. The hologram zoomed out, revealing massive structures orbiting Earth, Mars, and several moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Space stations larger than some moons, shipyards churning out vessels of all sizes, and energy collectors harnessing the power of the sun itself. Gasps echoed through the hall. Sparkle, the Kux ambassador, chimed in disbelief. But how? Your system was supposed to be resource-poor. Chen smiled. A common misconception. While it's true that our system lacks some of the rare elements found elsewhere, we learned to make do with what we had. Necessity, as we say, is the mother of invention. She went on to explain how humanity had developed revolutionary recycling and manufacturing techniques, turning asteroid belts and gas giants into vast resources. They had mastered fusion power, quantum computing, and even begun to tap into zero-point energy. But our greatest resource, Chen continued, has always been our diversity and creativity. Earth is home to thousands of cultures, each contributing unique perspectives to our technological and social evolution. The hologram shifted, showing scenes from Earth's history, clips of early space missions, scientific breakthroughs, and cultural achievements played out before the astonished aliens. We've had our share of conflicts and setbacks, Chen admitted, but each challenge made us stronger, more adaptable. When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, we united as never before, channeling all our efforts into preparing for this moment. In a corner of the room, information broker Vex watched with his many eyes wide open. He turned to his assistant and whispered, "Delete everything we thought we knew about humans. We're starting from scratch." Meanwhile, on the fringes of the solar system, Admiral Zex of the Zarthans and War Chief Groknak of the Kreks found themselves in an unusual situation. Their damaged ships were being repaired in a massive human space dock, the two longtime enemies forced to coexist under human supervision. "To think," Groknak grumbled, "we once thought to conquer this system." Zex nodded grimly. "Indeed, we laughed at their small fleet, not realizing we were staring at the tip of a cosmic iceberg." Back in the meeting hall, Chen was concluding her presentation. "We come not to conquer or dominate, but to join you as partners. Earth's advancements can benefit all species, just as we hope to learn from you." She paused, looking around the room. "Yes, our ships and weapons are powerful, but our true strength lies in our spirit of exploration, our drive to understand the universe, and our place in it." As Chen's words sank in, the mood in the room began to shift. Fear and apprehension gave way to curiosity and cautious optimism. Misty, the Nebulon diplomat, floated forward. "Captain Chen, on behalf of the Nebulon Collective, we would be honored to begin cultural exchange programs with Earth immediately." One by one, other species joined in, expressing their desire for cooperation and mutual understanding. Even Zix, the once skeptical Zarthan ambassador, stood up. "The Zarthan Empire recognizes the strength and wisdom of humanity," he declared, his voice carrying a newfound respect. "We look forward to a future of peaceful cooperation." As the meeting concluded, it was clear that a new chapter in galactic history had begun. The humans, once dismissed and laughed at, had emerged as a force for positive change in the galaxy. Chen allowed herself a small smile as she looked out at the sea of alien faces, now filled with hope and excitement. The journey ahead would not be easy, but humanity was ready. They had turned laughter into respect, fear into admiration. The galaxy would never be the same again, and that was a good thing. 5 years had passed since the day humanity revealed its true power to the galaxy. The laughter that once greeted the small human fleet was now a distant memory, replaced by a new reality that no one could have predicted. On the newly constructed Galactic Unity Station, a massive space habitat that served as the headquarters for interstellar cooperation, representatives from hundreds of species gathered for the 5th Annual Galactic Congress. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood at the podium, looking out at the diverse assembly. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions filled the Grand Hall, a living testament to the new era of galactic cooperation. "Fellow sentients," Chen began, her voice carrying across the chamber. "5 years ago, many of you laughed at our small fleet. Today, we laugh together as friends and partners in this grand adventure we call galactic civilization." A ripple of appreciative chuckles spread through the audience. Even Zix, the once skeptical Zarthan ambassador, now a close ally of humanity, nodded in agreement. Chen continued, "In these 5 years, we've seen unprecedented progress. The Galactic Exchange Program has allowed for the sharing of knowledge and technology across species barriers. Today, I'm proud to announce its most ambitious phase yet." She gestured and a holographic display sprang to life, showing a massive starship unlike anything seen before. "Behold, the Harmony," Chen said, her voice filled with pride. "The first truly collaborative galactic project. A ship designed and built by over 50 different species, combining the best of all our technologies." Gasps of awe echoed through the chamber. The Harmony was a marvel, its sleek design incorporating elements from various alien architectures, powered by a combination of human quantum drives and Nebulon etheric fields. In the audience, information broker Vex, now the head of the Galactic Information Exchange, nodded appreciatively. "Now that," he whispered to his assistant, "is what I call progress." Chen went on to outline the Harmony's mission. a decade-long journey to explore uncharted regions of the galaxy, crewed by a diverse team representing all major species. As she spoke, news of the Harmony Project spread across the galaxy faster than light, thanks to the new quantum communication network. On countless worlds, beings of all kinds watched in excitement. On a small farming planet on the galaxy's edge, a young Zarthan named Zork looked up at the stars with wonder. One day, he said to his Nebulon friend Whis, "I'm going to be on a ship like that." Whis pulsed encouragingly. "We both will, Zork. That's the beauty of this new galaxy. Anything is possible now." Back at the Galactic Congress, Chen was concluding her speech. "But our greatest achievement isn't measured in technology or exploration. It's the peace we fostered." She gestured to a group of Zarthan and Krex delegates, once bitter enemies, now engaged in friendly conversation. Former adversaries now work together. Conflicts that once seemed unsolvable have found resolution through dialogue and mutual understanding. A holographic display showed scenes from across the galaxy. A human scientist working alongside a Kux crystalline being to develop new medical treatments. Nebulon gas clouds helping to terraform barren planets for solid species. Zarthan warriors teaching combat techniques to mixed species security forces. "We've learned that our differences are not obstacles, but opportunities," Chen said. "Each species brings unique strengths to our galactic community. Together, we are far greater than the sum of our parts." As Chen's words resonated through the chamber, even the most stoic delegates felt a surge of emotion. The galaxy had indeed changed, and for the better. And yet, Chen added, her tone becoming more serious, "We face new challenges. As we push the boundaries of known space, we encounter phenomena that test the limits of our understanding. But I have faith that together, we will overcome any obstacle." She paused, looking out at the assembled delegates. "5 years ago, you laughed at our small fleet. Today, we invite you to laugh with us, to dream with us, to explore with us. The galaxy is vast, but our potential is vaster still." As Chen concluded her speech, the chamber erupted in applause. Species that once would have never interacted now cheered as one, united in their vision for the future. Outside the station, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. The laughter that had once been directed at a small human fleet had transformed into the joyous sound of a galaxy united, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. In this new galactic order, humanity had found its place not as conquerors, but as catalysts for positive change. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: it would be faced together, with hope, curiosity, and the unshakable belief that anything was possible. As Admiral Sarah Chen looked out at the cheering crowd, she allowed herself a small smile. The journey had just begun, and the best was yet to come.